This video will contain spoilers. And review Lost Judgment. I finished this a while ago, but here we are. Overall, the game is not better than the first one. I think that the first one is just overall is better. Even though it's probably just because I played the game more recently, but I remember the name of the villain from Lost Judgment. I don't remember the name of the guy from Judgment, but I would say that the guy from Judgment was a better villain because the fight scenes and shit, like there was one in a bar and it was extremely fast paced. Like goddamn, it was hard to keep up, but it visually it looked really nice, and I've kind of noticed it in films and stuff where they have to pull their punches that the characters punch really slowly. Like in real life, if you punched that slowly, one, the punch wouldn't do any damage, and two, the other guy has enough time to either punch you back or block you. So I like it when the action is very fast. But my nipple when I was on. I did not finish the school stories. I did everything bar my tongue's making like this clicking sound every time I talk, and it's annoying. I did all of them bar the boxing club because there was a massive difficulty spike with there was this one boxer who they said before the fight starts, you're really gonna need to block him. And I was like, oh, whatever. Like, all these fights so far have been mostly pretty easy. But no, he just wiped me instantly. So I would either need to buy all the skills, do the smaller fights so that I level up. But I don't think that would be enough. And I don't like grinding. So I said, fuck, I'm not gonna do it. The other one I didn't finish was the Robotics Club because the way that that is designed is so unfair. I don't remember what point I got to. Like, I can't really give a description because it's all the fucking same. But the Robotics Club up until that point was very easy. All it was you pick up the blocks and you place them, and then the robots on the other team will mostly just target your allies. Sometimes the allies got in the way, which was pretty fucking annoying, but other than that, it was easy. But with this, the enemy robots decided to get smart, so they decided to target me, and their weapons are much stronger than mine, and also when you get hit, it's sort of unfair. Like, see if this was like the equivalent of boxing. Imagine a flyweight attacks a heavyweight first, and then the heavyweight attacks back. Somehow the flyweight is able to defeat the heavyweight before the heavyweight can pull off one fucking punch. And it's just bullshit, it's unfair. And then when you die, it takes 10 seconds to respawn. And the enemy robots will just camp there. Like, AI camping, what the fuck? And then if it weren't for the fact that you have your allies also waiting to respawn, you might have been able to get away, but no, because the game has decided that your ally, like one dead ally, will respawn directly to the right of you, the other ally will respawn directly behind you, and then you've got two enemy robots ahead of you and to your left. You can't move, and it's unfair. And I looked up the walkthrough to see what I can do to improve, like where do I get the parts I need and all that. Because I thought maybe if I put in one of those, I think it's called the hate chip, into one of the other robots, then they would only target that guy, and I can just do my thing. But I I think what it was that you can do practice matches and they vary in difficulty, and certain matches will have certain components, and the practice match, you get the parts you need for that hate chip. Even that is ridiculously unfair. So fuck it, I'm not doing it. That game mode needed to either be heavily reworked or scrapped entirely. Fuck the developers for putting that in. So it was a massive shame that I didn't get to see how the professor's story ends, but I might just look it up on YouTube. As for the rest of the story, I don't think it was bad. It was really good. It's just it was kind of confusing with the whole, this person died this year, this person died this year, and that was kind of hard to keep up. I understand it now in hindsight, but just at the time, it was confusing. I think that's all I really have to say. So I'm just gonna move on. DLC review, the Kaito files. I was kind of excited to play as Kaito, but now that I've actually played the DLC, the fact that this is quite possibly the end of Judgment is bullshit. Like they've announced that there are currently no plans for Judgment Free, and that this series is on hold for now. I'm not a fan of this DLC. It's even more confusing than Lost Judgment. Like in hindsight, even I still don't understand it. So, plot is, guy tries to hire Kaito to find his wife, who was presumed dead but may still be alive. This girl turns out to be Kaito's ex-girlfriend as well, and he decides not to investigate because it's bringing back bad memories. But he runs into this kid who believes that Kaito is his dad, and the girl that his ex-girlfriend is his mum. So eventually he decides, fuck it, let's just do this. And a little bit later in the story, they find this doctor who had something happened to the mum, and she was injured, and this doctor had healed her and all. She had amnesia and was living with the doctor for quite a while she recovered. The doctor fell in love with her and plans on proposing to her, which that is very fucking weird because he knows damn well that she has a husband and a kid. Well, maybe not a kid, but like he knows she's married, so it's a little kind of creepy to me. Turns out that the whole person behind everything in this is the dad. He is, I think what it is, he was part of a gang, and he started killing all the other members of the gang just to try and cover his tracks. And the wife got involved in it somehow. I don't know exactly. So you feed him, you go back to the doctor's house, and you have this option where it's like, I don't know what I want, or I want to marry her, and I picked I want to marry her. And the doctor was like, no, fight me. Which, the fuck? And then he does like the Yakuza thing where he takes the shirt off and really buff underneath. And it's just, what the fuck is actually going on? It's so weird, it's so confusing, and I really don't like the fact that this is the last we'll see of Judgment. Moving on. Beginning, middle, and end review. the man who erased his name. I was going to do this proper, beginning separate, middle separate, end separate, but the problem is that because it's only a short game, it's 5 chapters, you unlock everything by chapter 2. And I was going to do, beginning review after chapter 1, but then I got so deep in the chapter 2, I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to do the beginning and middle review, but then I realised, oh, I've unlocked everything. Like, it's not like the other Yakuza games where it's like, you unlock this, you unlock, like, say, coin lockers in chapter 1, you get the sub-stories in chapter 2, you get whatever else in chapter 3, you get everything in chapter 2. So I just ran around doing everything that I could, and then progressed the story, and you don't even, like, it'll be like one cutscene, and then you unlock something else that takes another hour to complete. I'm not complaining about the length of them, I'm just saying that, well, I get it, I don't like the fact that you unlock everything immediately. I like Yong Yi as Kiryu, but it's kind of weird because there are times where he'll have like a gravel in his voice, and there are times where he doesn't. When he has a gravel in his voice, it makes sense. I like it. But when he doesn't, it doesn't, and I don't like it. Kiryu is getting older, and I've heard that in Infinite Wealth he's diagnosed with cancer. I actually kind of thought that it was going to be this, that he was diagnosed with it, or Yakuza 6. Because I'd got that fact spoiled for me in an Instagram post. I forget what I was going to say. The strolling patrol thing in this game is what I hoped Part-Time Hero was going to be like in Like a Dragon. Excuse me. I didn't use the agent style because who the fuck would? I don't like the fact that you need to use money to upgrade your skills because there's no infinite wealth source, pun intended. Like, the only other game where you had to use money to upgrade your skills is Zero. But in Zero, you had a way of making money infinitely. I was actually complaining to Ginger about how one of the sub-stories, or requests, as the game calls it, you had to give this guy 1 million yen. I was like, bro, I only have 1.5 and I need that for my skills. But then he went to go do something, and I eventually decided, fuck it, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to give the guy the money. It turns out you don't even need to give him the money. And I had also found out that around the same time as that, I was doing the pocket circuit, and I got to the point where I bought all the parts, and the guy that you buy the parts off from, he says, because you bought all the parts, I'll just allow you to buy plates and shit. So I just bought all the plates that I could with the remaining points, and that gave me a shit ton of money. Second best way to get money was through the Coliseum. I did everything in the Coliseum up until Platinum rank. I don't think I did anything Platinum. There were some I struggled on. I think the Silver tournament, or maybe the Gold tournament, was a struggle. But other than that, it was easy. I do like the kaito appearance in one of the sub-stories. I don't really have anything else to say about it. Actually, I do kind of wish it was voice acted so we could bring back Crispin Freeman and Steve Bloom. But other than that, what else? The story was confusing, and I kind of felt like they. I feel like they realized how they fucked up in bringing Kiryu back in like a dragon. Like, we need to make a story reason for this. And they struggled to, because it just doesn't make sense. And then they're like, oh, you know what? Let's put Kiryu in the next Like a Dragon, like properly, instead of just a cameo. But once again, we're going to need a reason for that, so let's make this game so that we have that reason. Speaking of, it's also kind of weird that they have Kiryu looking the way that he always does, minus the iconic suit in this game, but then the end cutscene shows him with the grey hair that isn't gelled up. It's just kind of weird that it happens in this game without any context instead of happening in Infinite Wealth, because there's a 4-year time jump for the end cutscene, and then that cutscene leads directly into the, when you beat the game, you get a trial of Infinite Wealth. I don't want to say too much about it because I want to leave that for the Infinite Wealth beginning review, but it's nice seeing Kiryu and Ichiban together. It's weird about the haircut, but that's all I really have to say about it. Overall, it is a really good game. Best finale in my opinion. Kiryu crying took me out. Can't think of anything else to say. Beginning and give up review. Tomb Raider 1 to 3 remastered and Tomb Raider 4 to 6 remastered. Hold on, I need to clear my note. Hold on. Sorry, I'm just after a cold, and when I get a cold, part of it is that my ears get blocked, so I was just unblocking them. These are the 1 to 3 came out last February. You know, it's a remake of the first 3 games, and then 4 to 6 came out this year, and it's a remake of 4 to 6. And I'm just going to do both of these reviews in one, because everything I have to say applies to all of them. I was born in 2004. I was born at the very end of the PS2's life cycle. And because of that, I feel like I find it hard to play PS2 era games and games that came out before the PS2 era, because they all use very unique control schemes that it's hard to wrap your head around as a modern gamer. Because I feel like when Call of Duty came out, or at least Modern Warfare came out, every other game, and at least somewhat, tried to copy the control scheme. So most games have a pretty uniform control scheme, and there's nothing fucking wrong with that. Because it means that I can go into a brand new game I've never played before and just play. I don't need to go, oh, which button does which? I can just play the fucking game. And if it were me making a remake of a game, I would have updated the control scheme. And, maybe have the option of having the classic control scheme or the modern control scheme. But no, the people that made this remake didn't do that. They just had the classic control scheme. And I really did try. Like, it wasn't like I was in the mood where, you know, I want to not like a game so I can just delete it and move on. That's not the case. I was in the mood to play it. I wanted to play it. I wanted to like it. But I went to where you get the first secret, and I tried to get that, but it took me like 5 minutes because the control scheme. The way it works is that, for example, modern games, if you want to turn left, you push the control stick left, and then you move left. In this, it's like operating a fucking claw machine. Moving up makes Lara move. Moving left makes Lara turn. It doesn't make her move, it just makes her turn. And then you need to push up again in order to go left. The way the jumping works is that you press square to jump, and then if you need to grapple onto anything, you need to hold X. The way that shooting works is that you pull triangle to pull out the guns, and then you hold down X to shoot. And it's all those things that it makes playing the game feel like playing Operation, is the best way I can describe it. And it's annoying, so I'm not fucking dealing with that bullshit. I played through each game for a little bit just to see if they actually modernized the control set, or if the control set from the original version of the game was modernized. And the answer is no. They all use the same control set. It's bullshit. It's not fun. The only thing I have to compliment the game on is the fact that you can play with the original graphics or the remake graphics. The remake graphics are better because the render distance is better. That's all I'm going to say about it. Beginning and give up review. Zanki 0 Last Beginning. I had heard that Spike Chunsoft had made a Danganronpa successor, and when I looked up to see games they've made since Danganronpa 3, I found 2 games. Psyche 0 Last Beginning, and another one called Master Detective Archives, and I know that it was kind of obvious because the title is Master Detective, but I couldn't tell which one was the successor, so I bought both. And I went into Psyche 0 knowing that there was going to be like monsters and shit, but I thought, one, I'll play it until they show up or until I get scared. I'll explain more on that later. Or two, maybe it's not as bad. And I'll just play for it, you know? The thing about me being scared, to explain, is that take a game like Skyrim. See, once you leave town, it's like every creature within a mile radius picks up on your scent and makes a fucking beeline for you. And I can't play games like that. Like, I'm a massive pussy when it comes to games where stuff like that happens. Fallout is a better example, but I always use Skyrim for some reason. Because with Fallout, they don't need to. With Skyrim, they're kind of limited in what enemies they can have, because it's limited to things that already exist in mythology, like giants and dragons and all. But with Fallout, they can make whatever the fuck they want, and they'll make like these disgusting creatures that pop out of the ground with zero warning, and it just, I can't handle that. Even as a 21-year-old, I cannot handle that. Like, I get nightmares when I let it get to me, you know? But when it comes to the Fallout show, no problem whatsoever. Yeah, that thing in the water that, what was it ate? the ghoul's dog or something like that, or tried to. Yeah, looking at it, it was grotesque, but I wasn't going like, ah. I could have just said that instead of acting like it, but whatever. Um, so I went into Zanki Zero knowing it's a game not for me, but I didn't want to just give it up outright without giving it a chance. And the story, like, got me hooked within like a minute. I was really intrigued with what's going on, and I imagine people will accuse Spike Chunsoft of only having like one sort of plot opener. Like, you know, the way that the Nonary games and Danganronpa start and the way that this starts, they're all kind of similar, but it's only there that the similarity ends. Like, from there on, the Nonary games are very different from Danganronpa. And this, but yeah, it got me hooked, and I really wanted to see what's going on. And it got to the point where that island shows up, and you go onto it, and you go around it and you fight goats. And I thought, okay, they're just goats. When you look close up on their faces, it's kind of creepy, like they're not goats or something like that. But other than that, no problem. Then you go into the building, and because there's no lights on or anything, it was very creepy. And usually I would want to fill out the map, but no, I'm going straight for the objective. And the cutscene plays, and there's this door, and it opens as a crack, and you see this giant eyeball, and then the giant eyeball has like a tentacle that shits out, and it kills you and one of your other like I didn't want to say friends because they've only just met, but might as well. And then the part of it is that you can clone each other. I need to clear my ears again. Like, both of you get cloned, but you just come back as a child, and that is a little creepy, I'll admit, but it's whatever. And then the plot is that you go back to the place, and I'm assuming that guy that killed you in the cutscene is the boss of that stage. But after the cutscene ended and you get control bad guys, I had a fuck it, nah, I'm not playing this. So, story really got me. I've heard the game is shit from some people. Like, it's got a 5.5 on IMDb, and someone made a video. I didn't watch it, but the title was I wish Zanki Zero was good. Maybe I'll watch it on YouTube, which I don't like doing that, but I do really want to see what's going on. Yeah, blow my nose. If you couldn't tell, I'm taking a break from Like a Dragon. It's just with Infinite Wealth being as long as it is, I didn't want to immediately go into it because I've already played Lost Judgment and Many Races Name back to back, and it's gotten to the point where it feels like I don't have any PlayStation games left. That is not true at all. I've got plenty of PlayStation games that I've yet to play. Like, if I let me go through them right now. So we have the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. It Takes Two, although I would need someone else to download the game and play it with me. Pirate Yakuza, Hogwarts Legacy, Epic Mickey Remastered, Skywalker Saga, Infinite Wealth, Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy, the Expanse Telltale series, although I want to finish the show before I play that, Cyberpunk, Master Detectives, Yeah, because it's your director's cut, Split Fiction, Borderlands 4, and the game that I'm currently playing. Borderlands 4 is also another thing that I can't really play for the same reason as Fallout. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until my friend is in the mood to play it, and then hopefully playing it together will kind of make it better, but I don't know. Yeah, so I put a couple of those games onto a wheel and spun it, and the game I'm currently playing came out. I'm not going to say what it is. There will be no beginning or middle review because I watched a YouTuber play the game, but I didn't actually finish it. This was back when the game came out. This was like 11 years ago. Um, I didn't finish his playthrough, so I'll do the end review, but I'm not doing the beginning and middle. Then after that, after I finish that game, I'll spin the wheel again, and at that point, I might. Uh, to be honest, when I spun the wheel, I didn't actually end up on the game I'm playing right now. It ended up on Ace Attorney, but I didn't want to play Ace Attorney because that was going to be a really long fucking game, especially since it's a trilogy. Um, and it's a visual novel, which means it would be the same length as Yakuza, if not longer. But I would need to read myself instead of having the English voice actors do it for me. So I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. Playing the game I'm playing right now. And I had a feeling that when I finish this game and I spin the wheel again, it might end up on that, or it might end up on what's the other thing that's long. Let me there's another thing that's really long as well. Reset. Not that reset. Star Wars is the other thing that is going to take a long time. So I'll spin the wheel. I have a 1/3 chance of getting a game that is small, although it's Evan Mickey. I don't know why I'm being secret about it. Although Evan Mickey is a remake, it's there's two of them, and on top of that is PS4, PS5, and I don't think there's auto pop, so I'll need the 100% 4 games. So that's going to take a while. But the fact that it's split up into 4 makes it a bit more bite sized. Anyway, Zootopia 2, also known as Zootropolis 2, universally positive ratings. I watched it in cinema. Shakira, Macaulay Culkin, Ki-Hye Kwan, Patrick Warburton, Fortune Feimster, Jennifer Goodwin, Idris Elba, Brenda Song, Andy Samberg, John Reno, Ed Sheeran, Jason Bateman, Alan Tudyk, Dwayne Johnson, Danny Trejo, Yvette Nicole Brown, Wilmer Valderrama, Michael J. Fox, John Leguizamo. I definitely pronounced that wrong. I'm sorry. Stephanie Beatrice, Josh Gad, Jen Squibb. Oh, fuck off. Fuck off, Nick DiGiovanni is in this. Kill yourself, you're not an actor. I don't think Jane Squibb is the person I'm thinking of. Whoever the fuck is the girl from Velma is who I was thinking of. I don't think that's her. Anyway. Michelle Gomez, the girl that plays Moana. I'm definitely not going to be able to pronounce that. And Cecily Strong. I'm so glad I didn't watch Zootopia 1 until now, because that would mean I would have to wait 9 years for this. But I only had to wait like a couple days, so I'm glad about that. The film's really good. Um, I don't actually know what to say. They blow my nose. Is it better than the first one? No, I wouldn't say so. Um, I feel like it sort of erases the progress that was made in the first film with Judy and Nick's relationship, because I would have thought that by the end of the first film, Judy and Nick bring out each other's strengths and eliminate each other's weaknesses. But in this one, they do have their problems, and it's more bumpy than it was in the first film, and it's just, it makes sense. But I I want to watch them be unstoppable. Like, it's not like they need to solve the case in 5 minutes, but it's just no arguing, no, I don't even know what else, but just, you understand what I'm saying. Um, it's a film worth waiting 9 years. No, it's not. Really good film, but not worth that. I was kind of expecting. I couldn't remember who voiced Gary, and I was kind of expecting him to sound like um Penchus from Hazbin Hotel, but no, it's Ki Kwan. I didn't realize that Andy Samberg voiced Paubert. To be honest with you, I thought it was Paul Rudd, and now that, because voice acting, I didn't know who the voice was. Now that I think about it, Andy Samberg and Paul Rudd sound very similar. I never thought about that, because when you think of like Andy Samberg and other celebrities, you kind of think of like Nicolas Cage and anyone else that he's like impersonated before. Don't think he's done that for Paul Rudd, because him doing a Paul Rudd impersonation would have just been him being himself. Uh, don't know what else to say. I do like how the film has, like, you have the people who tell the government what to do, like the rich, the elite, and this is in a kids film. It's based. Gotta teach them young. Um, and then you have the mayor who, he grows a set of balls. He's like, no, 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 actually, I should fight back because this is all wrong, and he does. That's great. I think that is all there is to say. So, moving on. Christy, mixed ratings. I watched it in some Sydney Sweeney, Ben Foster, Kitty M. O'Brien. Just to make one thing very fucking clear from the very start, yes, I am a right winger. I am aware of the Sydney Sweeney jeans advert. My opinion on it is that it's just a fucking joke. There's no like secret Nazi thing or anything like that. I know that because of that, people started digging into Sydney's personal life, and they find that there's someone named Sydney Sweeney who is a registered Republican. That doesn't mean that Sydney is right wing. It could mean one of two things. Either one, it's a different Sydney Sweeney, which is possible. Or two, Sydney was just tired of 4 years of Joe Biden and registered as a Republican to vote for Trump. I don't know how the registering thing works, because it's different over here. Um, But, it could just be she was tired of 4 years of Biden. She wanted to make sure that Kamala didn't get in. She thought that Trump was the better option. But she could still be left wing, you know? But I'm also aware of the interview that Sydney did where it was like, do you want to apologize for what happened? And Sydney said, no, if I want to apologize for something, I'll just apologize. I'm not gonna. I don't need you to give me the opportunity to apologize. Which is basically just a slightly more complicated way of saying no. That's based. I'm also aware that Ruby Rose was talking about how she was originally attached to play Christy, but then they got Sydney. And I would have thought that Ruby's problem with Sydney playing Christy is the fact that she is straight. I thought Ruby would have wanted a lesbian to play a lesbian. But no, her problem is the fact that Sydney is right wing. And not even the fact that she's right wing, the fact that Sydney apparently hates gay people. Sydney never said that. You're just assuming because it is very much possible that Sydney is right wing. Christy Martin herself has come out and said that she likes Sydney's performance. So, I think in that case, everyone else should shut the fuck up. And someone pointed out the fact that, if we're only going to get straight people play straight people, gay people play gay people, and so on, are we going to do it to the other things like nationality? Because if that's the case, Ruby Rose can only play Australian lesbians. And I have not seen her in a single thing where she is Australian. Like, I've seen her in Resident Evil, John Wick, and Batwoman. In all of those, she is American. So, yeah, playing a different nationality is not the same as playing a different sexuality, but it is a little hypocritical. I think it's just acting. And if a straight person is playing a gay person, it's not offensive unless they're gonna be like an absolute stereotype. But Sydney wasn't. I mean, she kind of was with the aggressiveness, but she's playing a real life person. Anyway, as for the film itself, I did quite like it. Something I find weird is the fact that they never actually confirm Sydney being gay or anything like that. Or why did I say Sydney? Christy. Like, all they show is at the start of the film, she kisses. It's not her girlfriend, but it's someone that she's kind of experimenting with. Kisses her stomach. And then that's it. She acts straight for the rest of the film, and then by the end, the whole thing becomes public about her being gay. And it kind of reminds me of the whole Jodie Foster thing. Like, I think this was after that guy tried to kill Ronald Reagan to impress her. It was then that everyone was saying, oh, apparently Jodie Foster's gay. And then Jodie came out, and it's just... I get that this is not the case, but it kind of feels like Jodie only came out just because of the rumors. Like, not only that Jodie only came out, but Jodie is only gay because of the rumors. Like, if the rumors never happened, then she would have been happily married to a man, But I feel like it's the same with this, where obviously she would have gotten her divorce from her husband because that guy he is so fucking evil. Like, it is unbelievable. But maybe she would have remarried a man. Anyway, it's possible that Sydney requested that they keep the gay stuff to a minimum because maybe she does kind of not really like that, but I doubt that's the case because if it were, she wouldn't have gone into this because I would like to imagine she would know before accepting the role. I'm trying to think of what to say, because the film it is a little repetitive. Like, it's Christy gets in the ring, completely demolishes an opponent, and then it cuts to like a couple of years later, and it is a little like it just makes it hard to say things about the film. Something that I do like about it is that they shown her being uh, nearly murdered very casually. I've never seen that film Elephant, but Roger Ebert made a review of that film, and he said that, by the way, Elephant is a film about a school shooting. He said that when you watch like a war film, even though most war films do successfully show the terrors of war, like imagine the start of Saving Private Ryan. You know, that is terrifying. It does show how scary it is, but at the same time, Saving Private Ryan is still a very entertaining action film, and the same can be said about most war films. But when Elephant shows the school shooting, it's not exciting at all. It's very, very boring in a good way. And it's kind of the same with this, because it's just he stabs her sometimes and then he shoots her. And there's no music, there's no close ups or anything like that. You don't even see her getting shot because the camera is placed behind the bed. And it's just, it doesn't dramatize it, is the point I'm making. Like, it just shows you this happened, this is real, and it's fucked up. I think the only other thing I have to say is the fact that Christy's mum is also a, I don't even know what adjective to use. Like, I was gonna say a something prick. I don't even know what this something is. But she is just unfit to be a mother, because instead of focusing on the fact that her daughter was shot, she's like, "Oh, there, those rumors that you're gay are back. You need to do something about it." I was like, "I've literally been shot like 12 hours ago. I'm not in a position to do anything." So fuck her. Like, people like her make me so fucking angry. And the worst thing is that this is real. This isn't fiction. It might have been dramatized, but I'm going to assume that that actually happened in real life. Because of this film being released around the same time as the whole uh, the jeans thing, people have been making fun of Sydney, because they'll say that, she alienated her left wing audience, which means they're gonna boycott this film, and then her right wing audience just don't want to watch the film, whether it be because Christy's gay or something else. The way I see it is that a lot of right wingers refuse to watch any movie made now, because they see it as all Hollywood. Even though this film is an indie film and not Hollywood, these people don't know anything about the film industry. All they know is, the films are made. Hollywood are a bunch of corrupt pedophiles, which that part is true. But they don't know what Hollywood actually means. They don't know the difference between a Hollywood film and an indie film. So they just assume that every American film is Hollywood. Maybe not every American film, like maybe even like
James Bond, and I was going to say Lord of the Rings, but because Lord of the Rings is produced by an American company, it is. I'm pretty sure that is how they classify the country of origin of a film, even though it's mostly English cast, made by a Kiwi director in New Zealand. It's classified as an American film because it's produced by Americans. Um, that's all I have to say about this. No, I didn't finish what I was saying. Yeah, right wingers just refuse to watch any films because they see literally every single film that's made now as just woke bullshit. This film isn't woke at all. Yeah, the main character is gay, but being gay in and of itself is not woke. Also, they don't really show her being gay. Hell, if you watch only this film and you don't look at the bit at the end that says like, you know, later on, Christy married what's her name, Lisa. Um, if you don't read that and your only knowledge of Christy comes from this film, you would think that she isn't gay, that it's just rumors, and that she was experimenting when she was a teenager. That's all I have to say about this. Overall, it's a good film. Kind of repetitive, but there's it's not like a right wing film. Just leave politics out of it. Something else I want to say about Christie is the fact that when I booked the tickets, it said Christie and then in brackets boxing as if it's an actual boxing match. It's kind of weird. Anyway, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the movie. Universally negative ratings. I watched it in cinema with Ben Man, Ginger, and Dylan. Mechanic Race, Skeet Ulrich, Piper Rubio, Megan Fox, Josh Hutcherson, Matthew Lillard, Matthew Patrick, Wayne Knight. Um, it's kind of weird that Toy Bonnie is voiced by that waiter from the first film. You know. Anyway, I was disappointed by the fact that uh, William Afton doesn't really appear in this film. It's just in like dream sequences and PTSD sequences and all that. I don't know anything about the FNAF 2 plot. I fucking hate FNAF. Like, but decided to watch these films because fuck it. So I didn't know that he doesn't have anything to do with this game. Because this isn't just the sequel to Five Nights at Freddy's the movie. This is an adaptation of FNAF 2, which I didn't know that they were going to do it that way, where each film is actually an adaptation of each game. Um, I don't get how it's going to work because all I know about FNAF 4 is that it's set in a like a child's bedroom. I don't think that child has anything to do with the other three. I don't know. I'll just have to wait until FNAF 3 comes out. Um, this film's much better than the first one, mostly because there is one dream sequence, but it's not the Garrett one again. It's not even one that Mike does. It's actually one that Vanessa has, and it doesn't repeat. It's just it happens once and that's it. I find it weird that they announced Megan Fox and Matthew Patrick at the same time because it was just kind of weird. We have this big celebrity. We have this former YouTuber. I didn't say Matthew Patrick's not an actor like I usually do when they get YouTubers in movies because he actually is. He just like he did a bunch of stage plays that I think if you look at the Game Theory's channel and you like filter it to oldest first, you actually still can see some of his performances on stage. Like I think Game Theory was just supposed to be a for fun thing in between work, but then it took off and became bigger than anything he had ever acted in. Because I was watching this with the other three, and they know more about the plot than I do, they kind of told me some things that were a little weird. Like Mike and Michael Afton are two very separate people in this film, and basically everything that Mike does in this film in the games Michael does, but for the film they this actually kind of reminds me of Resident Evil now that I think about it, because instead of making the game or instead of making the film about either Jill, Claire, or actually just one of those two, most likely Claire, they made they made Alice, who I think was supposed to be like an amalgamation of both of them. But then for the later films, they brought in Claire and Jill. It's just kind of weird. Um, for this, they changed they changed Mike so that he's no longer related to William Afton, and his name is now Mike instead of Michael. But then for the second film, they brought in Michael, and he's a bad guy in this. He's the one that sets up all of the events. Um, and then because of that, that leads into FNAF 3, where the spirits that possess the animatronics, they can no longer keep hold of William, which means William's going to get out, and that's going to lead into FNAF 3. And then on top of that, the Charlotte possessed Vanessa. And speaking of that scene, for some, Mike just goes off on Vanessa for no fucking reason. Like, Mike finds out that she has a brother, and is like, "Why didn't you tell me?" It's like, it's just it doesn't make sense, and he basically just says, "Stay the fuck away from our family." It's basically that scene from Diary of a Wimpy Kid where Riley or whatever the fuck the friend's name is. It's like, "Don't call me, don't come by my house," and all that. Overall, the film was pretty entertaining, especially with the. Someone had recorded this and put it on Instagram before I'd seen the film. There's a plushie of Freddy that has a speaker in it that Mike pushes on, and the sound that comes out is that FNAF beatbox from a couple of years ago. It's kind of weird, very very fucking funny. Ginger had seen this film before us because he works at the cinema, and he got a staff only screening, and he said that there was one jump scare, that like only one, that was actually good. And he was kind of looking at me because I jump really easily. I jumped, I think, twice at this film, but then when it came to the one that he said was actually scary, I didn't jump because I knew it was coming, because it was the one where I swear that was my stomach. That was so fucking loud. I really need to eat. I'm starving. Chica, her body like cracks and all, and the puppet comes out, and but as you see the puppet then you see what's her name, Abby, her reaction, like her screaming, and then you see the puppet do the jump scare. So I knew it was happening. Whereas whatever it was, I jumped at. I didn't. I knew something was coming. I just didn't know what or when. But anyway, that's all I have to say. Much better film, but it's a film based on FNAF. Like it's not going to be good. Fucking hell! What? I've been recording for over an hour. I did not realize. Jesus Christ. Moving on. Eternity. Universally positive ratings. I watched it in cinema. Callum Turner, Elizabeth Wilson, Miles Teller, Betty. Is that? No, it's not. Never mind. Divine Joy Randolph, and I think John Early. He was in something. Is it? Was he in The Mentalist? Well, look at this. I'll continue with the review. I really enjoyed it. It's like The Good Place, but it's an indie film, and it's more focused on like the whole romance thing than comedy or anything like that. That's not what I was looking for. There we go. I can't do this and also talk at the same time. I'm also not saying anything that I go, oh, it's the guy from that. I thought he was. I can't remember the guy that was in The Mentalist from like only the last couple seasons onwards. Oh, it's Culp from the After Party. Oh, okay. Right, moving on. You like my avatar wallpaper? I like it. Uh, yeah, there is intelligence to this. Like it's a rom com with intelligence. It's a romance movie with intelligence. Like this is much better than Materialists. Speaking of Materialists, I noticed that Callum Turner kind of sounds like Chris Evans. But anyway, I thought this was going to be kind of like the opposite of Mickey 17, because like in that film, when his girlfriend finds out that there's two of them, she's like, oh, even more to the share, or not the share, but more for me. And I thought it was going to be the opposite, where she's basically like, because I have the choice, it's too much to handle, so I choose not to choose, and just goes off on her own. But then, when it got to the point where Miles, no, what was it? Yeah, she decides to go off on her own, and then she's with that girl, Karen, whatever the fuck her name was. Um, I thought maybe they might hook up or something, but and then I thought Miles and Callum start bonding, and thought maybe they might end up being gay, and that's how the film ends with it working like that, but it didn't. Um, like I don't like it when people say that, oh, this character's gay when they're not really gay. Like House and Wilson from House, like they basically are gay, but the show never actually shows them being gay. So I don't like it when people say that they outright are gay. Like they're not outright gay. It's just extremely implied. Um, I thought I would have more to say about this, but I actually don't. I can't think of anything. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to leave it there.